Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a step outside our own reality. We're looking at how fiction uses parallel universes. And, not just as a cool sci-fi idea, but, well, how they make us think about our world.
Yeah, it's a really rich area.
So that's our mission today. We've got a list here, 10 sci-fi and fantasy books about parallel universes. We've gone through it to pull out the key ideas, the really interesting bits.
Right.
The goal is to get you up to speed fast on how these authors imagine other realities, why these stories grab us, and, what kind of aha moments are hiding in there.
Sort of shortcut through the multiverse of fiction.
Exactly. A deep dive into these pretty mind-bending possibilities.
Yeah.
But it's not just about, wild concepts, although those are fun.
Definitely fun.
We're also thinking about what they show us about our own lives, our own choices. It's like looking at ourselves from a different dimension, maybe.
It's a great way to put it. And what's fascinating, I think, is how often these stories come from that really human question, what if?
Ugh, the big what if.
Right. Authors use these parallel worlds to tackle some pretty deep philosophical stuff, even if what pulls you in initially is just escaping to somewhere else.
Escaping the everyday.
Exactly. It's a powerful way to explore, what it means to be human.
Okay, so let's dive into that what if idea first. Choice and consequence. How do these books really get into the nitty-gritty of that?
Well, it goes beyond just I chose A instead of B. Take Blake Crouch's Dark Matter. It's a thriller, right? And it's directly hooked into the many worlds theory from quantum physics.
Okay, remind me of that one.
So the idea is basically every time something could go one way or another, the universe splits. And both outcomes happen, just in separate universes.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So in the book, the main character, Jason Dessen, he's a physics professor. He wakes up one day in a reality where he never married his wife.
Oh, wow.
Instead, he became this top quantum physicist who built a machine to jump between these realities.
And the book explores the mental toll of that.
Totally. The psychological impact. Facing the life you didn't choose. It's intense.
That sounds incredibly compelling. What about when it's not just one choice, but all the choices?
Yeah. That brings us to Ted Chiang. His story, Anxiety, is the dizziness of freedom. It's in the Exhalation collection.
Okay.
He imagines this tech called a prism. It's like this device, sort of like your phone, but it lets you talk to versions of yourself from other timelines.
Talk to other me's who made different choices.
Exactly. And the result, society has what Chiang calls a total nervous breakdown.
Because of?
The tyranny of choice, knowing every possible outcome for every single decision. It just leads to this massive paralysis, this discomfort.
So more options isn't always better.
That's the question it raises, yeah. Does infinite choice actually mean freedom? Or does it just trap you? It feels weirdly relevant today, actually.
It really does. All the options we have now. Okay, so what about choices that shape not just one life, but maybe whole societies, whole futures?
For that, Marge Piercy's Woman on the Edge of Time is, it's a classic, a really important feminist sci-fi novel.
Yeah.
It's about Connie Ramos. She's a Mexican-American woman, and she's been unjustly put in a mental institution back in the 70s.
Okay.
And she gets contacted by someone from the future, from 2137. This person shows her this amazing utopian future. No prejudice, no poverty.
Sounds good.
But here's the twist. That very contact, it triggers this kind of butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
It reveals there are two possible futures now hanging in the balance.
The utopia
And this hyper-capitalist nightmare world built on oppression. So Connie's struggle, her choices in the present, they could literally decide which future becomes real. It connects individual action to these huge collective outcomes.
Wow. So these books, they're really making us think about the weight of our decisions, aren't they?
Absolutely. Whether knowing other possibilities helps or hurts, and how one person's choice can ripple outwards.
It definitely gives you pause about your own choices. Okay, so moving beyond those very personal, choice-driven stories, sometimes parallel universes are just the setting for something bigger, right? Like huge, epic quests.
Definitely. You get these grand, sprawling narratives where the multiverse is the stage. Think about Stephen King's The Dark Tower.
Ah, yes. The big one.
Huge. It's described as the central spoke of King's whole multiverse. 7 books. It follows Roland Deschain.
The gunslinger.
That's him. A kind of knight-errant figure questing across this multiverse's wasteland for this mysterious dark tower.
And what's really cool is how it connects to his other books, yeah.
Exactly. That's what's wild. Characters, Places from the Stand, Salem's Lot, Hearts in Atlantis, They all sort of weave in and out. King even puts himself in there as a character at one point.
No way. Really?
Yep. It's this massive literary web, all tied together by this multiverse quest.
So it's like the ultimate crossover event built into the structure. Are there other examples of this kind of central hub idea?
There are. Look at Kill 6 Billion Demons. It's a graphic novel by Tom Parkinson Morgan.
Okay, haven't heard of that one.
It's got a similar concept. There's Throne, which is the central spoke around which the 777,777 universes revolve.
Whoa, that's a lot of universes.
Right, and the story follows Allison Ruth. She's just a barista, gets kidnapped by a god.
As you do.
Yeah. And she ends up having to learn this sacred power in this version of heaven that's described as having the charm of a picked corpse.
It's charming.
Very. But she gets help from like an angelic martial arts master and an infernal sapphic lover to become this prophesied hero.
Okay, that sounds epic. And maybe a little chaotic.
Definitely chaotic, definitely epic. So yeah, these are for readers who want their parallel worlds served with a big helping of destiny and adventure.
Grand-scale storytelling using the multiverse as the ultimate backdrop. Got it. But sometimes these other realities are used less for adventure and more for asking tough questions about society or power, maybe even religion.
That's a really sharp point, yes. They can be incredibly powerful tools for social critique. Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials is probably the most famous example of this.
Virus story.
Exactly. Lyra Belacqua. She's from a world that's almost like ours, but, different. Demons, the Magisterium.
Right.
And her quest, well, it's pretty audacious. The aim is to kill God, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she finds out about this metaphysical secret that this powerful world-ruling church wants to keep buried.
The Magisterium.
Right. So she has this magic compass, the alethiometer, talks to angels, travels across different universes, meets Will from our world, and together they try to, and I quote, topple the kingdom of heaven itself.
That's ambitious.
Well,
the source note about ex-Catholics loving it makes sense now.
Yeah, it's definitely provocative. It uses these alternate worlds to really interrogate authority and dogma.
So using the fantastic to critique the real, does that apply to more, say, down-to-earth systems like economics?
It absolutely does. Check out The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. This one uses the multiverse concept to talk about social class and capitalism in a really smart way.
How does that work?
So travel between worlds is possible, but there's this grim rule. You can only travel to a world if your alternate self, your doppelganger, is already dead there.
Oof. Dark.
Very dark. And corporations, naturally, are exploiting this. They gather data from other realities for profit.
Of course they do.
And the main character, Kara, she's a traverser, a data collector. She's good at it because, well, she has terrible luck. Most of her other selves across the multiverse are dead.
So she has lots of worlds she can visit.
Precisely. But then one of her few remaining other selves dies under mysterious circumstances and kicks off this whole sci-fi thriller plot. But underneath, it's all about exploitation, privilege, the systems that trap people, even across dimensions.
That's chilling. The idea that even if you could jump universes, maybe some of the same problems, the same inequalities would just follow you or already be there.
Or be amplified, yeah. It suggests these aren't just problems in our world, but maybe something more baked into how societies structure themselves, regardless of the reality.
A sobering thought. Okay, so we've had choice, big quests, social critique. What about the more personal journeys, using parallel worlds to explore things like family or love?
Oh, absolutely. That's another huge draw. These stories can be incredibly intimate, using the vastness of the multiverse to tell very human stories. The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow is a beautiful example.
Tell me about that one.
It's about January Scalar. She's a young woman, feels very out of place living in this big mansion in the early 20th century, feels like, part of the furniture.
Lonely.
But then she finds this strange book, a book that tells the story of a woman finding secret doors to other worlds.
Ah.
And she starts to realize this book isn't just a story. It's kind of a history of her own life, and it might hold the key to finding her father who's missing.
So she has to find these doors herself.
Yeah. Her quest becomes about finding and opening these multiversal doors, hoping one leads to him. It's about finding family and identity through these other worlds.
That sounds lovely. Tying the fantastical to a really core human need. What about connections between distinct realities? Finding people across the void?
V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic series plays with that really well. It sets up a system with just 4 parallel Londons.
Okay, limited options this time.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Red, white, gray, and black London. Each has a different relationship with magic. Gray London is basically ours, magicless. Black London.
Hmm.
Well, magic there consumed itself.
That good?
Not good at all. And the main character, Kel, he's from Red London. He's one of the very few who can travel between them. He's an ambassador, but also a bit of the smuggler on the side. He gets into trouble, gets pickpocketed by a thief named Leela Bard from Grey London. And this magical artifact he was carrying turns out to be super dangerous, connected to the dead Black London. So Kel and Leela, this unlikely pair from different worlds, have to team up to basically stop Black London's fate from spreading to the others. It's about the connection they forge.
An interdimensional buddy cop adventure almost.
Sort of, with magic and higher stakes.
Okay. And for maybe the ultimate interdimensional connection, something really boundary pushing.
Then you absolutely have to talk about This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone.
That title alone.
It's evocative, right? So you have two agents, red and blue. They belong to these rival time-traveling empires from different parallel futures.
Okay.
They're fighting this intricate war across all of history, messing with timelines to ensure their side wins dominance over the future.
A time war. Makes sense.
But as they keep thwarting each other's missions, leaving messages for each other across time and space, they start writing letters, and they fall in love. Across enemy lines, across timelines, across realities, it becomes this epic, incredibly written, well, the source calls it a sapphic love story that will convince you to betray a nation in the name of devotion.
Wow, that's quite the tagline, a roadmap to temporal treason.
Exactly. It's about connection against all odds. Love is the ultimate act of defiance against these huge warring powers. It's really unique.
What an incredible range of stories we've touched on. Just from finding a lost parent across worlds to finding love while fighting a time war.
Yeah.
It really shows how this core concept, parallel universes, can be a stage for almost any kind of human drama. These deep dives show the heart doesn't really care about dimensional boundaries.
Well said.
So just to recap, we've seen parallel universes aren't just a gimmick. They're this amazing space for authors to explore choice, fate, huge quests, critiques of society, and these really deep personal connections. Hopefully you listening now have a much clearer picture of some of these mind-bending books and the ideas they're playing with. Some real food for thought there.
Definitely. And if you think about the bigger picture, all these stories, whether it's the tyranny of choice or, corporations mining other realities,
Yeah.
they kind of nudge us, don't they, to think about how we handle all the information, all the possibilities, all the complexities in our own single universe.
That's a great point. It grounds it back here.
Which leads to maybe a final question for you, the listener, something to chew on.
Okay.
If you could somehow peek into another reality, one where you chose differently or where maybe society went down another path, how would knowing that, or even just imagining it, affect how you live your life right here, right now?
That is something to mull over. How would that knowledge change things?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the multiverse of fiction. Lots to think about. Until next time, keep exploring those possibilities.